The world that we live in is a conglomerate of different kinds of societies. And each of these societies have their own culture, norms, beliefs, and sociological setups. In a country like India, in spite of having such differences in our society, we all come under the umbrella of one set of laws of the land. We have various laws that protect us from various crimes like molestation, kidnapping, rape, eve teasing, and domestic violence. But there is one social evil that is under the heat of debate regarding its criminalization, and that is marital rape.
Marital rape.
Oh boy,
Marital rape.
that's not a rape. आइडिया नहीं.
Yeah, I do know.
A woman who is married getting raped by some other guy.
No, getting raped by her own husband.
By her husband?
Her husband, yeah.
Okay, that's not fair.
Well, marital rape would mean that forced sex even after marriage.
Same. I mean, there's no two ways about the definition.
One of the parties doesn't consent at that time.
I think it is criminalized. I don't know.
We don't know about it.
I feel it is criminalized in India.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
In one of the Lok Sabha assemblies on 25th April 2015, when the issue of criminalizing marital rape was raised, this is what the Minister of Home Affairs Haribai Chaudhary had to say. According to the report, as of April 2011, only 52 countries in the world had amended their legislation to explicitly make marital rape a criminal offense. Around 127 countries have not yet taken this step. Since past few years, women in India have been fighting to claim justice for marital rape. But none of these women have been able to file a case against their husbands because spousal rape is not yet considered as rape in India. Divya, one such victim of marital rape who has been divorced for 3 years now, is still hoping to get her husband on trial for raping her.
हमारे रिलेशनशिप को 1 साल हो गया था and then we got married. शादी की फर्स्ट नाइट से he was very aggressive with me in bed. And he used to dominate me in everything. इससे मेरे सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट को इतना हर्ट होता था. फिर एक दिन कभी कभी अगर मैं उसे सेक्स के लिए मना करती थी तो वो हफ्ते हफ्ते तक मेरे से बात नहीं करता था. इससे मुझे बहुत टॉर्चर फील होने लग गया था. एक दिन हम दोनों ऑफिस से थके हुए आए थे और मैं कपड़े चेंज करके लेट ही रही थी कि he just tried to come over me and have sex with me. I told him that I'm very tired, but he just kept on and on. He didn't even bother to listen to me. और उस दिन मुझे realize हुआ कि that was a moment when I realized कि I was raped by my husband. फिर मैंने बहुत बार उससे इस बारे में बात करने की कोशिश की, but वो हमेशा मुझे यही कह के चुप कराता था कि I'm your husband. I have a right on you. I mean, like he has a legal right on me to have sex.
But violence was no class or education. It's got nothing to do with that. It's mainly just male dominance. It's not even got to do with. It's not like you are just feeling very horny, so you're going to have sex with somebody. It's not got to do with that at all. It's being dominant. It's being trying to assert a certain sort of behavior. Sometimes also thinking that if I can't have it, I'm just going to take it.
A lot of us do not know how important consent is, even with your loved ones. That are you not in the mood? Are you in the mood? Or you may just not want to have sex. Even if you're in mood, you don't want to have sex with him at that point of time. Because the idea is that he is your husband. The word is pati, no? He's your owner. Lakpati, Karodpati, Arabpati. That means he owns a lakh of rupees. He owns a crore of rupees. So he owns you.
हस्बैंड और वाइफ के बीच में एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए इन बेड, जो विकास और मेरे बीच में कभी थी ही नहीं. और ऐसा 2-3 बार हुआ और मुझे समझ तो आ रहा था कि मेरे साथ कुछ गलत हो रहा है, बट आई नेवर कुड अंडरस्टैंड कि किस एक्सटेंट तक मेरे साथ गलत हो रहा है और मुझे किस एक्सटेंट तक उसके लिए एक्शन लेना चाहिए.
it would just come down to one word: consent. It, and then at what point does consent not count? Does not saying no is consent? Is saying it? It's a very complicated thing. How about, like, I actually gave consent, but later I felt raped?
सेक्सुअल कम्युनिकेशन कैसा हो, हस्बैंड वाइफ सेक्स के बारे में बात नहीं करते और सेक्स करते हैं, तो कैसे पॉसिबल है? अंधेरे में हम लोग तो सर्वे कर रहे थे, रिसर्चेस कर रहे थे, वुमेन ने अपनी बॉडी नहीं देखी होती, हस्बैंड वाइफ ने एक दूसरे को कभी नेकेड नहीं देखा होता, न्यूड नहीं देखा होता, और बच्चे 7-7 8-8 पैदा होते जा रहे हैं उनके. So this is what sex is between us.
वन डे हम दोनों सोए हुए थे एंड अचानक से वो मेरे कपड़े खोलने लग गए एंड I was actually in periods that day and I told him that because I'm in periods, it's my first day, but like always he never bothered and he kept on or he did everything or I couldn't even react and I was in pain. And next morning when I woke up, there were bruises all over my body and I was in pain. And that very moment I realized कि अगर मैं यहाँ एक दिन और रही, then this thing is going to happen again and again and I'm going to get raped by my husband every single day.
अब्यूज के सारे केसेस में तो यही मैडम रोज आता है, थक के आता है, दारू पीता है, फिर बस उसको रात को मेरे साथ सोना होता है, दिन में तो उसको कुछ प्यार व्यार दिखता नहीं है, तो मैं तो बहुत परेशान हो गई हूँ, ये दिस इज व्हाट सेक्स क्या, तो ये सारे क्या, दिस इज द एवरीडे women is talking about the case every day.
She is confused that she has the power to say no in the middle of the act. Just because she said yes at the beginning, it's not a contract she signed that towards the end, until he comes or I come or he dies or I die, I have to keep having sex with him.
The survey conducted by National Family Health Survey shows that the number of women sexually assaulted by their husbands is 41 times the number of women assaulted by other men. Latest research confirms that sexual violence is grossly underreported in India.
तो मैंने अपनी बेस्ट फ्रेंड को फ़ोन किया एंड मैंने उसे सब बताया एंड शी वॉज शॉक्ड क्योंकि हम तो सबके लिए एक परफेक्ट कपल थे. फिर उसने मेरा सामान पैक करने में मेरी हेल्प की एंड आई जस्ट लेफ्ट दैट प्लेस. उसने मैंने अपने मॉम डैड को यही बोला कि विकास मुझे थोड़ा पीटता है, he just abuses me physically और मुझे उससे डिवोर्स चाहिए. बट हमारी इंडियन सोसाइटी में मिडिल क्लास लोगों के लिए डिवोर्स पाना इज़ लाइक सच ए बिग इशू. और मॉम डैड वही सोसाइटी प्रेशर एंड ऑल, दे सेड कि just go and talk to him about it and just settle this down. बट फिर मेरी फ्रेंड ने जब मेरे फिजिकल ब्रूजेस देखे एंड शी सॉ द मार्क्स एंड एवरीथिंग, she at once told me कि हमें पुलिस स्टेशन जाना चाहिए and to complain about it. But पुलिस but हमारे इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में तो ऐसा कोई लॉ ही नहीं है हस्बैंड के खिलाफ रेप करने के लिए.
A lot of women who come from a upper middle class to an upper class don't really talk about it. Maybe there's a taboo, maybe they're just embarrassed. I don't know what their thing is, but I feel like the more they come out and talk about it, the more people will know that it's just not something that happens to your cook or your housekeeper. Like everybody thinks it's a disease that only happens there, you know.
If after marriage the woman doesn't find her husband either compatible or attractive or is finding it really difficult to talk about his sexual habits, I mean, she may want to have sex with him in cases that she does want to have sex with him. He may be doing things in bed she doesn't like, or he may be asking her to do things she doesn't like.
डाइवोर्स के 3 साल बाद भी मैं यही सोचती हूँ कि अगर विकास से मेरी शादी नहीं हुई होती तो विकास would have been behind the bars for raping me, but he's not.
Data by NCRB shows proportionately less number of domestic violence cases filed by women who are brave enough to report such crimes to the police. Too many get unreported. For the protection of women under the Domestic Violence Act, women in India have the right to claim civil remedies for domestic violence, but there are no criminal penalties for the same. The Act includes one section that talks about sexual abuse as well, but that again provides only civil remedy like a restraining order or ground for divorce plea. But does it really provide complete justice to the victim? That is when the debate of whether marital rape should be criminalized or not comes into play. Because one of the different forms of sexual domestic violence is marital rape. Many women like Divya who have been trying to file a case against their husbands for marital rape, but how sensitive is our police regarding such issues?
Normally, most of the policemen who are not sensitized, they would feel that some matter which can be settled amicably and police need not interfere. So unless we have a very well-trained police force, things are not going to change. So first the mindset of the policeman has to change. They have to be properly trained, and fellows who are not performing properly, they have to be weeded out.
What is it about marital rape that we need a law to tackle it? Would it bring any substantial change in the existing state of women's rights in terms of their protection and safety? Or would it make the situation worse or bring no change at all?
So a rape is a rape, and a rape is not sex. Rape is violence. Okay, so there's a thin difference between sex and violence. So rape is a violence, and any kind of violence, whether within marriage or outside marriage, is unacceptable. So just because a couple is married does not give the person to force himself upon the woman against her wishes.
You cannot have a law on marital rape till the time a lot of study goes into it. You involve the men also in it, because at the moment all the laws protecting women, I would say the laws are already tilting towards the women. So if you come with law for marital rape, how is it going to stand in the trial court? Because the offense will take place within the four walls of the room, and the husband may say that it was my love and affection for my wife, and the wife may say it is rape. So there is no evidence.
People just say it's very difficult to prove any sort of rape, but that's the sad part, that you have to prove it. And this is why so much of it is not reported. So it's a catch-22, yeah. At the same time, women or men are very uncomfortable to report something that happened to them, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one put on, in the custody box and made to ask embarrassing questions.
Half the women whom I interact or meet, they don't even know that these are the provisions, safeguards which exist in the law. So first you make them aware, let them start using how these laws can be used for their protection, and then marital rape. We just can't ape the West, that if UK has it, if US has it, we cannot just go and follow them.
See, when you get married, you should know what are your rights. You should not only think of your wedding, how grand it will be, what you'll wear, what jewelry you'll have, but you must have your full knowledge that, when I get married, these are going to be my rights.
Can existing laws be used to seek justice for marital rape? If yes, then what could be the consequences?
See, you should be bringing under the general law of domestic violence. And it should be, and it is there. You don't need a law change. You need awareness. You need training to the police. You need for people to understand, like if I'm violated, I can go and file my case where I can put everything there, not just one. And according to me, the domestic violence law, which is a civil injunction, which is protection, etc., and the 498A, which is a criminal, should be joined together.
498A, which we have, is called the Dowry Act, Anti-Dowry Act. Supreme Court recently came with an order saying the Dowry Act is being misused rampantly. In fact, it said that at least 40% of the arrests which are made are, it has become a tool for the police to extort money.
And a lot of people also say, well, if there are laws, then people take advantage of it, and there's the misuse, and I think that's all rubbish, because if you ever experience something like that, you would know how severe it is to just make fun of it or just to use it just frivolously.
In the magistrate court, I have not seen one single conviction. No conviction happens. Usually there's settlement, there's a divorce, there's some compromise, but there is no conviction under 498. Yet there is the whole realm of law that says that women are misusing. Everywhere you go, lawyers say it, judges say it, police say it, everybody says it. All the people are misusing only say it.
Like that's just weird, like absurd that you're already coming up with so many assumptions that that's going to happen. How would you know? Like it's a very important clause that needs to have it. You can't sit and say that upper class will misuse already because you're giving fodder to other people to use it as an excuse later.
Persons who are lodging false complaints and frivolous complaints are not being punished. And that is one of the very important reason why the burden of the courts is increasing. Because you don't get disposed of, cases don't get disposed of, and people are encouraged to lodge false complaint because they are not punished.
When we talk about misuse of laws and false complaints, we ignore the possibility of the fact that for cases like marital rape, which don't fall under any law, women tend to use other laws to protect themselves and seek justice. But are laws gender neutral in our country? Do men and women both have equal rights to protect themselves?
Here the law says a woman cannot rape a man. See, the Indian law is such that it is tilting towards women. There is no provision which says a husband can say, I have been raped. So is the case with adultery. A wife can file a case of adultery against her husband, but the husband cannot. So, if you're talking of equality, if you're talking of Article 14, that equality before law, so let the women also be equal to men.
Most of the rapes happen, 90 some percent, I think, rapes happen from men to women. But there are rapes happening on the other side as well, where women could say, I would divorce you if you don't have sex with me. I would do this if you don't. So coercive tactics from women or touching a man's body when he doesn't want to be touched can all be construed, come in the ambit of molestation and rape.
We generally take up the issues of justice, laws, equality, rights for debates and discussions. But what we often miss to think about are the basic elements that form the bigger picture.
और anything without consent is rape, is abuse, is torture. इस पे बहुत ज़्यादा बात होने की ज़रूरत है और जो नहीं हो रहा है बेसिकली वुमेन कहाँ बात करती हैं, लड़कियाँ कहाँ बात करती हैं. मैं तो तुम्हारी जनरेशन की लड़कियों के साथ काम करती हूँ तो वो लोग सेक्स के बारे में बात ही नहीं करती, अपने शरीर के बारे में बात ही नहीं करती हैं. लड़के तो इंडिपेंडेंट ग्रुप में बात करो तो करते हैं और वो वुमेन बॉडी पे जितने आराम से बात करते हैं लड़के खुद अपने शरीर के बारे में बात नहीं करते.
They don't know their bodies, they don't know their own desires, their own hearts. And of course, our sex education system is wonderful. It's the best in the world. Where frog's reproductive system is used as a stand-in for a human reproductive system because the teacher's too afraid to teach. You go to a college and a school and all they keep telling you is what you can discover by your cousin. You have a vagina, you have this, I know, I can look. What do I do with this? Don't ask too many questions. That is because who is our sex guide? Who is generally a sex guide? It's either porn or that dumb cousin who's equally unaware and ignorant. That dumb cousin or that society wale bacche. So now you have either Suresh Bhai or Savita Bhabi. Savita Bhabi on one side, Suresh Bhai on the other side, both giving you unrealistic expectations of life.
We often hear people blaming our country's politicians, bureaucrats, lawmakers for not providing us a safe society to live in. But who makes up the society? It's we, the people.
When we talk about gender roles, if we keep pointing fingers at this faceless thing called society, what it does is it takes the responsibility away from us. But then you also want to be a good girl. You want to please everyone. You want to be a good daughter, you want to be a good this, and you want to be a good that. So then you are also struggling with your own approval-seeking desires.
अच्छी बहू की डेफिनेशन इतनी अलग बना दी है. अच्छी बहू की डेफिनेशन ये नहीं है जो खुद की केयर कर सके. अच्छी बहू की डेफिनेशन ये नहीं है जो करियर में ग्रो कर सके. अच्छी बहू वो नहीं है जो अपनी हॉबीज जानती है. अच्छी बहू वो नहीं है जो पैशनेट अबाउट वर्ल्ड है. अच्छी बहू वो नहीं है जो नेबर्स के साथ अच्छी है, जो सिटीजन्स के साथ अच्छी है. अच्छी बहू वो है जो खुद को मारे और हमारे लिए जिंदा रहे.
The patriarchy has done such a fabulous job that they have appointed women to oppress other women, even when men are not around.
The concept of marital rape could only be understood by deeper analyzation of various aspects related to it. The question that arises here is how prepared are we for a law against marital rape, and how do we prepare the grounds for such a law to be implemented and executed efficiently?
It could be criminalized or it should be criminalized, but that criminalizing of the offense of marital rape does not have to be, it has to be viewed in a very proper manner. Not somebody that any woman who comes up and says, okay, my husband raped me tonight or this morning, and that is why I'm filing a case. The police or whoever the authorities are will have to investigate, find out from the husband, find out from what the circumstances are around, maybe also examine the body if there are any, physical harm that has been inflicted upon the lady or she has gone through, or is it just, a case of that they had a fight and then he says, okay, now I'm going to teach you a lesson, I'm going to go to the police and complain that there's a marital rape on me. So it will have to be done a deep, detailed study and with a lot of sensitivity.
We don't have adequate police. We don't have proper, complete, there's so much vacancy in the courts. You don't have judges. You don't know how to collect the forensics. Our cases, there is so much corruption. So till the time we don't tackle these things, till the time we don't set the legal system in order, you just bring the law which cannot be executed, it will not protect women.
A special cell has to be created. Let's not be treated like any other criminal act that you go to a police station, file a complaint and do this. Let there be a cell. You make a complaint to that cell. There will be the police who will be there, and that police will be able to, along with say a counselor or a psychologist or a medical expert who is there, deal with it in totality and then sort of, address the issue and give the relief.
Tomorrow you walk out and you file something, there's nowhere for you to go because we don't have support groups, we don't have homes to keep these survivors in places, and this is what we really need to look at, and this is what I keep on saying all the time. We spend so much time just talking about rapists. We just want to know, hang them, kill them, do this to them, but nobody's really talking about the survivor. What are we doing for the survivor? Do we have counseling for the survivors? Do we have homes to put them in? What are we doing so they can get on with their lives as soon as possible? That, if we manage to crack that, it might give them more confidence in stepping up and actually reporting rapes that happen to them.
So should it be really, really criminalized in that sense and the men being put behind bars? Only in exceptional, extreme circumstances.
Anything without your consent
is against your right to be.
Marital rape
Does not only need a comprehensive law,
But recognition.
and it happens day and night
your next door,
and even in your own family.
Is she looking only for a law?
she needs help, psychological,
Financial.
And medical.
marital rape,
Isn't a novel concept. The atrocities are
Castration isn't the solution.
sex education is,
redefine gender roles
understand patriarchy,
and not let it crumble down.
the modern society,
What keeps you from talking about
marital rape
shame
of our parents,
In-laws.
children,
Friends.
colleagues,
the police,
the court,
The media.
and the society in general?
But what this shame